and I can see some of you are concerned. You're probably wondering who is from Transylvania. Is he related to Count Dracula? And as a matter of fact, I am. I am the great grandson of Count Dracula's cousin's neighbor. The only thing that was passed down to me is that I don't like garlic, so and I just want to take a minute to say, like, what a privilege it is for me to be able to ask this question here, like a stone throws away from Hamlet's castle. And the question is, to build or not to build a BA community? That is the question. And that's the question that I will try to answer today in a 3-part drama inspired by Hamlet. So welcome on stage with me. And to answer this question, I actually did something that a lot of us have a tough time doing, is I followed the advice that I gave someone else. So last year during BA & Beyond in Belgium, I said, when you're faced with a really difficult stakeholder, ask for help from your team, your boss, and your community. And that is what I did for this presentation as well. And although I didn't ask for it, I received help as well from my family. More specifically, for my 5-year-old daughter, who one evening when I was working on the presentation came to me and said, "Daddy, it's too sad." "What's too sad, my sweet?" "Oh, the presentation is too sad. Make it happier." "Okay, how can I make it happier?" "Oh, put Elsa from Frozen." She's at that age. And so I said, "I'm sorry, sweetie, this is like an international conference. I cannot really just put Elsa on a presentation." But then she's like, "Oh, put Elsa, put Elsa." You know how kids get. And so in the end, I had to kind of say, "No, I'll make it happier, but there's no Elsa." I had to say, "No Elsa." So,
where's Elsa?
like, listen, I do not negotiate with terrorists. Even if they are small and cute, no way. So, what is a community? And I mean, when I say community, I mean a community of practice, and usually within a company, right? So, a community of practice is really a group of people who share a concern or a passion for something that they do, and they learn how to do that better as they interact regularly. So that's the definition, and that's the most text you'll see on the slide moving forward. So we got that out of the way. So what is it really? So it's a very nice definition, but what does that mean? How does a community of practice help us? Well, first of all, it helps us to socialize. I don't know about you, but as a BA, I regularly find myself the only BA on the project. So it feels like as BAs we are small islands and we don't really socialize. Developers, they can kind of speak to each other, ask each other questions and help each other out. But as a BA, you're kind of always alone. So being part of a community helps you socialize and just share with people that are like yourself. It also helps the learning process. You can learn from each other, you can do like a study group, right? So a community really helps you to do that. It also helps in sharing, not necessarily pizza, but sharing knowledge, because maybe we know some things that we want to share with others, just share from our experiences. And it also helps us solve problems. And I think I've heard this earlier today. When we are part of a community, you might be faced with a problem that you don't know, but you can ask people who have worked on something similar and they can give you advice, right? So really a community is very helpful in that sense. And last but not least, kind of also what Marie was saying, we can build best practices and we can build like even that nice definition of what it is really, because a lot of us don't even know what we're doing. I'm a BA, but like, what do you actually do? I don't know, I do everything and anything, right? So it helps us kind of define what we do, define some processes, right? So that's what a community is good for. So I want to kind of, before I move on, just ask about you. Are you part of a business analysis community, like in your company? Do you have, can you raise your hands? Okay, excellent. So we have a few people here. And so I have a question. Are you happy with your community? Do you feel like your community is engaged? You're getting the information that you want? Okay, so one person. Oh, yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll come back to you. So, okay, so like, what's wrong with your community? What do you feel like, not you, but the people who haven't raised their hands when they said they're happy, what is it that you don't like about your community? Or that you feel is missing, or? And I'm sorry if your bosses are around, it's fine, you don't have to answer.
We don't have enough VAs,
Not enough VAs.
and the ones that we do have, we have like central team that kind of does change and transformation, but then different verticals within the business, we have like a healthcare vertical, they have their own VAs that
Okay.
aren't part of our team, so there's no
There's
continuity
no
between the approaches.
Okay, and so everyone does the works differently. Okay, okay. Anyone else? Yes?
We don't have enough time to share. Of course, it's a prioritization, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's wrong.
Okay. Yes?
We don't work the same like model or way of, we don't have the same way of approaching the job.
Okay, yeah. You raise your hand as well?
Yeah, I kind of the leader of our community, so what are you saying? It's kind of time that is the issue, and engagement for people. That is kind of, they want to join, they don't have time, and then, yeah, it's only the few passionate people who are driving the community, so I kind of lagging or missing the engagement from the community.
Yeah. That sounds very familiar. And so, in this next act, I want to share a personal story from our VA community. And just to give you a bit of context, I work for a company called Amazon. We are based in Cluj-Napoca, which is indeed in Transylvania, in Romania. We're like an IT software development company and consultancy. About 500 people work there. Out of those, we also have some VAs, and so we have a community. And the community consists of 3 people that we call basically the core. These are the people that organize the community and kind of hope to engage the members of the community. We also have about 6 members who are active. That means that they come into almost all of our meetings, they have questions, they share their information. We have about 15 who are occasional, so that means they come from time to time when they can. They don't necessarily have something to say, but they do come there when they can. Then there's what we call peripheral, so they've heard about the community, maybe they came in once, they don't necessarily understand how the community might help them. And then finally, we have people who are outside. These are people from HR and the learning department and managers that kind of want to know about it, but don't really come into the community. And so this is, you go from the espresso all the way to the latte of the community, right? So, but if you look at this, we could say around 30 people in the community. It's not a big community, but it's not a very small one either. And so I'd like to share with you a picture from one of our BA communities. It was called Jokes and Coffee, and this took place in August 2023. Now, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. I mean, 6 out of 30 is not that bad, until you realize that he's actually a department manager, he's our CEO, there are 2 colleagues that want to become a BA, and she's really the only one who is a BA outside of myself. And that's despite the fact that we actually had free drinks and snacks, right? So it kind of killed me inside that meeting. But then I was like, it's fine, it's August, you know, people are on vacation, that's why they haven't joined us. They'll be back in the autumn and we'll start and we'll be wonderful, except that didn't actually happen. And so I kind of got angry, like, what's wrong with these folks? Don't they understand that it's so helpful to be a part of a community and really, you know, evolve together? But that didn't work either. And so I started begging. Wanna join the BA meeting? Doesn't have to be a meeting. And so they joined a couple of meetings, but then kind of everything fell off again. To a point where I was like, you know what? Let's just drop the whole community thing. It doesn't matter. No one's really joining us anyway. But in the end, we started speaking with other folks that were really participating, and we realized that just like Elsa, small groups never bothered us anyway. And so what I want to say by this is that I don't negotiate with terrorists. I really give in 100%. Yes. All right. But after I did, basically, I went through the 5 stages of mourning for my community. Those are the 5 stages of mourning or grieving. I actually reached out to the wider community of BAs. I'm lucky enough to know some speakers from BA and beyond and other conferences, and I reached out to other communities in where I live, and I started asking questions like, you know, are we the only ones struggling? What are you doing that is working out for your communities if it does work out? Or what kind of problems are you facing? And I came to the conclusion that there are a set of common problems that we're all facing when you're trying to engage a community. And the first one really is, like you said, people are not showing up. It's because I have something very important, or maybe I have a doctor's appointment, or I'm on vacation, or whatever, but the people aren't joining. Right? So that's really one of the issues. If they are joining, they don't have any questions, they don't have anything to add, they'll just stay there and wait for knowledge to come down from the heavens, right? But they don't really get involved at all. Some communities don't have any leadership. That means that there's no one really to kind of, they would like to get together, they would like to group, but there's no one really pushing them and say, okay, let's meet on Tuesday, let's do this, let's talk about that, right? So there's no leadership. Another problem that appeared with the COVID pandemic is we're all, or a lot of us, have worked from home. So that kind of broke down any social construct, and we're very isolated. And it feels like, I mean, do I want to get out of the house to go to the office for an online, like a meeting? Or, okay, we can do online meetings, but I had so many online meetings, I just want to take a break, right? And then one other thing that happens is we sometimes we're afraid to be judged. So you don't want to ask a question because you don't want to seem unknowledgeable. But then by not asking that question, you don't get the answer, and maybe other people who had the same question as you and didn't dare ask the question, they also don't get an answer, right? So the fact that we are kind of inhibited, that's also a problem with communities. So what can we do? And I can tell you what we did with our community. The first thing was to get a leader. And when we say get a leader, it doesn't have to be like a department with a structure, with management. Just have someone who says, hey, I'll take on the role, let's all meet, and let's talk about something, and let's, you know, who can share something with us, right? So someone who really, basically a facilitator, if you will. And in our community, we didn't really have a leader. We had one that left the company, and so kind of after seeing the struggles, I decided, you know what, I'll take it on, and I'll try to organize the team or the people and try to meet and build the community up. Then what we did, which may seem counterintuitive, is we actually decided to meet more often. We used to meet once a month. The problem with meeting once a month is that maybe one month you actually are very busy on your project. The other month maybe you're on vacation. The other month maybe you're sick. So now like a whole, you know, trimester went by and you didn't see your colleagues. So what we did was we went from once a month to saying, okay, we will meet on the first Friday of the month at 9:30 a.m. Then we meet on the second Thursday of the month at 12 p.m. Then on the third Tuesday of the month, after we get our paycheck, we go out for lunch. And then on the last Monday of the month at 5 p.m. we meet again. So different days of the week at different times so that people can join when they can, right? Some people work with US customers, they cannot join late meetings. Some people work in the morning, they cannot join meetings that are early. So this way, we were able to have more people involved with the community. Then it's important to learn together. We realized that just socializing was not enough. Because if you don't get value from these meetings, you're like, okay, they're nice and everything, and we joke, but like, I need to do stuff. So if you can learn something when you're there, then that really helps. So we did like a book club, right, or a study group, we did a book club. We're also doing something that we call Lean Cafe, or we don't call it, it's called like that. And the good thing about that is, you don't necessarily have to do like a presentation, so someone has to take on that work. Is really, let's choose a subject, and then let's all meet and just say what we know about that specific subject, right? So you don't have to prepare anything special. It's important to have fun. Don't forget to have fun. Either socially, you can go out, or just play something online, or you can do what I did, and I asked for help from my boss to actually open up our community to people outside of the company. And so we organized this event. It's called In Autumn We Count Our BAs. It's like a Romanian saying it's kind of like, don't count your chicks before they hatch, but we count them in the autumn. And so we organized this in September. We opened up the doors, and we had like 30 people come and join us. And what was interesting to me, it was that event actually glued our people together, because we're all kind of awkward. And so when you're just all of you in the company, you don't speak to each other. But when someone else comes from outside, oh, I know you, let me come and speak to you because we know each other a little bit better. So then that kind of made them stick together more closely, which I wasn't expecting. And so it went so well that we did a second one in December, where we just had some mulled wine, and we also kind of did a little play to say, like, let's write user stories to Santa. So we also kind of did a bit of work, but in a fun way. And then last but not least, I think the most important thing that we did is to try to get people involved. And get involved sounds just like to bring value. Like, it's so vague. What does that mean? What does that mean to get involved? How can I get involved? Like, what can I do for a community, right? And so I want to give you 3 things that I think each and every one of you can do for your community. So talk about your passion. Maybe you're passionate about data. Maybe you're passionate about process modeling, right? Maybe you're passionate about, I don't know, any topic that you want. Talk about that in your community. Say, hey, I think this is really great. Let me share what I know from this. Maybe you overcame a challenge on a project or a product and say, hey, we've had this thing, this is how we solved it, and so that helps other people when they face something similar to go forward. So I think we all went through some difficult customers, difficult projects, and kind of just what I learned from there, right? Or you can brag a bit. And I know it's not for everyone, but you can say, hey, this is what our team was able to accomplish. We had these things, and this is how we did it. Not necessarily what we did, but how we did it to help others achieve those things as well. So kind of to recap, talk about something that you're passionate about or that you're really good at. Talk about a challenge that you overcame or an achievement that you or your team had. And if neither of those are something that you're comfortable with, at least help out. And this is a picture of the VA community when I asked them to help me with this presentation. So there's 16, so there's 15 people who actually joined this time instead of 1. So that was for me a really good achievement. So I think that's what you can do. You can help each other out. And if I were to leave you with one thing from this presentation is a quote by John F. Kennedy, who said, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. And I will change it just a little bit and say, ask not what your community can do for you, but what you can do for your community. And this is actually a picture that I took at the Kronborg Castle just yesterday with my co-author. Thank you.